Good morning. It's a.m. in the morning, 4:13 in the morning where I am. That's why it's dark out, even though it's the morning for me. I haven't slept all night, but I've been working on video after video for guys. And I've been trying to relax and sleep here and now and then. I've only done 3 videos tonight so far, but multiple reviews in the 3 videos. This is the 3rd one. And I'm reviewing 2 movies, different movies, of movies. 2 different movies. Now, I give 2012 The Amazing Spider-Man movie 8 out of 10. And an 8 out of 10 I give the sequel, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Gets 8 out of 10 for me. I decided that this is the only Spider-Man movie and variant of Spider-Man in live action that I don't completely despise. 100%. But has kind of grown on me over time. I'll admit. The more I think about it. It has grown on me like Bill Murray's performance as Garfield alone grew on me and introduced me to Garfield. It made me the Garfield fan I am today because of that first installment to his Garfield franchise that Bill Murray made. That's my favorite Bill Murray role he's ever done, next to his role in Stripes movie. And my favorite movie he's done is the Garfield movie. Garfield the movie, titled. I give it a 10 out of 10, but I give Spider-Man performance and the writing for Spider-Man in this movie and Peter Parker, the difference, the contrast between Spider-Man and Peter Parker, it's actually kind of genius when you think about it, because I will admit he's definitely different from Spider-Man in the comics, Peter Parker persona, because Peter Parker's persona in the comics in high school, he's just a nerd that gets picked on a lot. But in this one, he's a punk that gets picked on a lot, and not really nosed by that many hot girls that are interested in, dating him. Or being more than the friends zone. Then he comes across this girl called Gwen Stacy, and she is head over heels for him. Obviously, and he falls for her. And she falls for him. I like the writing for the transformation to Spider-Man from vigilante to hero. And I like the transformation from Peter Parker's character changing his gender for wanting to take his vengeance and finding the murderer that murdered his uncle in cold blood and taking his vengeance and doing God knows what with him. His gender changed when he realizes that a big lizard thing is just roaming the city and terrorizing people. This is when I like how this is like when this is after the Captain Stacy, Gwen's father in the movie, basically pulls Peter out of his ass and tells Peter what he's doing as Spider, even though he's completely unaware of who he's talking to is Spider-Man, and basically saying that what Peter is doing, he's not doing good. He's targeting certain criminals like the guy has he's targeting certain types of criminals and not really just targeting criminals, just targeting criminals and so obviously he sees right through Peter's. He sees like clearly that Spider-Man at that point in the story is looking for is on a vendetta, looking for revenge for his Uncle Ben murder that got away. That the cops are having trouble finding. So it's finding. Well, puts on the designs the mask and designs the costume, then designs the whole outfit and puts on the costume for the first time while he's on his vendetta hunting for the Uncle Ben's killer. And that's how he makes is. I like the fact that we show the transitions of him making his costume in those moments playing out. So that was cool. I wish we got something similar for how he got his new costume in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I wish we saw him making that new costume that was a lot cooler. I just wish we saw it being. I wish it was seen when we saw it being made by him. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 costume for the sequel. I wish there was some scene in Spider-Man 2 where we saw a scene with him making the new costume. With the new design that he has for the sequel. That always bothered me, and why I have to give. What really bothered me about Spider-Man 2 and Amazing Spider-Man 2 is that never was included a scene like that. That would have made things so better for me to give it a 10 out of 10, but the last is an 8 out of 10 for me. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Even though it's my favorite Spider-Man movie. With Peter Parker. Next to the first one. The Amazing Spider-Man movie. That's why I give the Amazing Spider-Man movies an 8 out of 10. And I gotta praise Andrew's performance for really trying and giving us all, even though he wasn't given the most dialogue that he could have got as Spider-Man jokes. He could have been given. He just was too silent of a Spider-Man. His Spider-Man was too silent. Spider-Man just did too much stop talking every now and then. It got kind of boring when that happened, and annoying, and made me cringe when they did that to him. His version of Spider-Man. Because when he actually talks, he actually can bring lots of energy and role to it and make everything sound funny pretty much. He actually sounds like, well, Spider-Man from the comics when he's like putting on that persona. Peter Parker Spider-Man from the comics. For the first, his performance and his second performance. I think my favorite, I like his performance more as Peter Parker in the movie. In the first Spider-Man movie, the Amazing Spider-Man movie, I think I liked his performance and how his Peter Parker was written into the story more in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. And it was better handled and more involved with the plot, his Peter Parker was, than was in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. But I think the Amazing Spider-Man 2 had better Spider-Man written. And gave him more dialogue. I appreciate that in the sequel than he had in the first one. So yeah. Now that I'm thinking, I think I like the Amazing Spider-Man 1 more. More than the Amazing Spider-Man 2 now that I'm saying that out loud. Because, well, I do like both films. I just feel like, Spider-Man should have been written more like he was in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is the amount of dialogue. And the first one. For his role as Spider-Man. But wasn't given enough. So I think if, gave him the proper dialogue like he had in the sequel as Spider-Man, and he guarded that treatment for Spider-Man, half of Spider-Man dialogue, funny half of Spider-Man dialogue, that we got in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 for Spider-Man half, that we could have gone for the first one more of that. For the first one, if that was the scenario, that, what I'm saying, if that happened, then I would have then I think I would have loved the movie, want to give it a 10 out of 10, and the perfect Spider-Man movie. Because, the way I think about it, I think this is the great Peter Parker movie I always want, and as Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the great Spider-Man heroic movie I always wanted, for the heroic half of Spider-Man. But for the human half of Peter Parker, the persona half, the character you're supposed to relate to, I think the best Spider-Man for that movie has to be the Amazing Spider-Man 1. And that's why I think I like the Amazing Spider-Man 1 more. I get more of that Spider-Man. So, even though I have my problems with both films, I like both films enough to give them 8 out of 10, and like this version of Spider-Man 1 and 2 of the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I give it 8 out of 10. Okay, hit the thumbs up if you like this video. Hit the thumbs up if you like the video. Then hit the subscribe, and then hit the bell in that order to get subscribed to my channel. To my new subscribers that haven't subscribed yet, okay? That's all I gotta know. Hit the bell after hitting the subscribe. Remember, hit the bell first, then hit the subscribe, then hit the bell second. Okay, goodbye.